Φίλοι του GameWorld.gr, καλώς ήρθατε στη συνέντευξή μας με τους δύο voice actors από το Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Δεν πίστευα ποτέ ότι θα έρθει αυτή η στιγμή που θα πάρουμε συνέντευξη για ένα ελληνικό παιχνίδι Assassin's Creed και όμως είμαστε εδώ με τον Μιχάλη και την Μελισσάνθη και χαίρομαι πολύ, παιδιά, που σας έχω στο στούντιο. Επειδή λοιπόν τα παιδιά μένουν στο εξωτερικό, παρόλο που είναι Έλληνες, η συνέντευξη αυτή θα είναι στα αγγλικά. Οπότε συγχωρήστε τα αγγλικά μου και θα βάλουμε υπότιτλους για σας που ενδεχομένως να μην καταλαβαίνετε.
That storm was more than just anger, Barnabas. That was personal.
So I guess that a lot of gamers or a lot of people that work in the gaming industry, it is maybe their dream to work with Ubisoft. So how did you manage to start working with Ubisoft and to have this amazing project?
I sent in an audition tape, and they flew me across Canada that week. And I started auditioning with many people, and then they brought me to a motion capture studio and put me in the tight suits. And then after many more rounds of auditions, they introduced me to Melissanthi, and we got along very well, and then they cast us together.
It was pretty much a similar experience for me as well. We had, it was a 3-part audition. I had one part of it here in Athens. The second part was in London, then they flew me out for the third bit where I had my final audition with Michael. And at this point, Michael was already in Canada. And Michael was already, he had already had his answer by this point that you were going to be playing Alexios, blah, blah, blah. And so basically it was to see, I guess, how the whole chemistry would work and how well we could actually work together, and so my audition was basically with Michael. Yeah.
They spent, I think, from what I understand, about a year and a half looking for us through the audition process. Yeah, about a year for me, and then about 3 more months we were looking for the right person to. I guess they were looking for the right person to match my energy and who, you know, someone to scare me.
So the final voice acting was in Canada?
I think it was very different for both of us. For me, the bulk of work was in London, and some of the stuff has happened when I haven't been able to be in London. I've done some of the voice work here in Athens, but that's been, I think, 4 or 5 times possibly. But the bulk of the whole thing was in Canada for voice work, but in terms of mocap, that was all Canada.
Yeah, all the motion capture was done in Toronto, and I did some voice work in Vancouver, and then I moved out to Toronto to continue doing work there, so the rest of it was done in the voice booth in Toronto.
Where can I find Marcos's new beautiful estate?
You know the statue of Zeus on Mount Ainos? It's south of that.
Is this your first project?
This is my first project of, you know, this scale. This is definitely the first time I've done motion capture, first time that it's a lead character. But I had done a bit of work before on Origins. Just like 2 or 3 minor little roles here and there around Origins. But that was it. This is like my first official massive experience with, you know, voice work and video game acting.
I started my first motion capture about 15 years ago with Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, and I got to play, I got to play a dwarf, so, and my axe was really like, that was the character. It was very fun, and then I continued doing it with other video games throughout the years and some cartoons, and it became something I really liked to do. In the last Mass Effect Andromeda, I played many different characters, the physicality for them, so I played about 5 different people and aliens, and I loved changing my physical nature to become other creatures or people. It's something I really enjoy doing in the motion capture studio.
So how many hours does it take for you? Like, how many hours a day were you working for the Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
It's really great compared to a film and television, because that can be long days, 15 to 16 hours because of setups and lighting. And in the motion capture studio, you don't have any of that. You focus on the performance in a motion capture room with just your suits on and the masks. So our days end up being a little bit easier. So we're usually about 8 hours.
Yeah, I think it's like for mocap it was about, you know, we needed to be in early because it takes a while to suit up and get everything done and have your makeup and get all the gear on you basically. So that takes about a good hour, maybe under an hour to get everybody suited up basically. And then what? It's a 9 to 5. Yeah. 9 to 5 basically, but that's mocap. But in the voice studio, it's much less. It's about what, 4 hours? 4 hours a day, yeah. Because otherwise, if you end up pushing it, then it's very tiring on the voice. And if you have months upon months and months and months and months of it, then more than 4 hours a day is just going to exhaust you by the end of it. It's just not going to be possible. And it was a project that was this big, so it was strictly 4 hours a day.
Yeah, at the end of a work week, after 4 hours a day, you were done. Your voice was exhausted.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And this brings me to the next question that's actually out of the list. Did you have any bad days, like days that you called and said, I cannot come in the studio, my voice is too tired?
Oh, yeah. I was actually in Vancouver and I was supposed to fly to Toronto and do a week of voice work.
Bronchitis or something? Did you have like laryngitis or something?
I lost my voice completely and I got sick and I literally could not talk. It was very odd. I've never lost my voice in my life. And I was trying to call from the airport, getting onto the plane. I can't speak, please. Telling my agent to try and tell them I can't make it. And then they just had to wait till my voice got better. It took about 2 weeks.
I think I never skipped a day. I mean, I don't think it actually got to that point. No, because I did call and I said, guys, my voice is somewhere here. I mean, I'm just letting you know I can come in for work, I can do everything, but I'm sounding more like Alexios than Kassandra at this point. Are you sure you want to go there? And they were like, no, it's okay, we can totally do it. I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, there definitely are days because it was London and it's Canada and it gets cold and it's, you know, you can't maintain, you know, perfect voice health throughout the year. I don't think it's actually possible. You're going to have days where it's just not going to sound pretty.
Well, there was also days when they would record our yelling and screaming at the beginning of the day without thinking about it, and
halfway through the day you'll be done.
You're done. You can't do your actual just talking dialogue anymore because you've lost your voice from screaming for 2 hours.
2 hours of get them.
I'll die.
Were there any other Greek voice actors there in the studios with you?
Yeah, there was lots. Yeah. Majority of the actors were, I had to say yes in Greek. There were majority of the actors actually they brought in were Greek. It was lovely when we first got there and almost the whole table was...
Or of Greek, you know, descent.
Yeah.
Or
Greek Canadians or...
Greek. Or that kind of thing, then definitely, yeah. I think in Canada they had, I'm just going to do that and we can just kind of pass it along. We can do this, it can work, I think. In Canada they had a lot of actors who were of Greek origin, or they were, you know, maybe born in Greece but raised in Canada, and like Michael. Or I remember in London there were a lot of Greek voice actors that they'd flown out from Greece to record quite a lot of the stuff in London, and then there were a lot of recordings in Athens that were done with just Greek actors for some roles. That's all I know. What do you know?
But it was, for me, I just remember the first day we arrived and everyone was either Greek or part Greek, and it was the first time I've ever, as an actor, been in a room with other Greek actors all around, and it was actually a really amazing experience. Yeah.
Eagle Bearer, my name is Herodianos, second to Thaletas in battle. The dogs of war howl for blood, and thanks to you, Sparta now howls back.
Sounds like a lot of howling.
So, do you know maybe a number of how many Greek people were there for the voice acting?
I can't actually give you a number. I don't know, but I think they tried to make it the majority of actors that they could possibly find were, you know, spoke Greek or, like I said, were of Greek origin, or were actually, you know, Greek actors. But I don't know what, like 80%, 85%?
Yeah, from what I understood, they, even good actors, voice actors who could do a Greek accent, they still would prefer to have found Greek actors and Greek descent first. And they really did their best to cast that first before going anywhere else. So majority of the game will have at least Greek descent of some sort within the characters. Yeah.
Okay, this is very important because we don't want the word malaka to sound like non-Greek, you know?
Yes, yes. That's very, very true.
And since we mentioned this word, how many times did you say it?
So many times.
It's like at least 50. At least 50.
At least 50, yeah. I would have to say that it was, yeah.
We got to do it in so many different ways also, which was really fun.
Malaka.
Tell your boss he can stick it.
That's for last week!
Malaka!
Malaka!
On his vineyard.
Wait, what? A vineyard? Malaka!
So can you do it now, like a surprised malaka?
All yours now.
Malaka!
You can also add a moo, like malaka moo or something. Did she put you in trouble? Did she do it much better than she was supposed to?
There was one scene where she said it, and the way she said it, the inflection she did, she was like, Malaka! And it was, she did this really fun, like, I was like, and I'd already done it and recorded it. I was like, I need to do it again because she did it so well. I need to go over this again. It was in the motion capture studio. And so after she did it, I was like, it was too good. I need to come back. Give me the microphone. And so I did it again. Malaka! You did this really fun.
Sounds very jerky.
But it was you did it perfect. It was very perfect.
What about the historical events in the game? It is based on one of the most major historical events in ancient Greek history. So, do you know if there were any changes?
This is the one I want.
Are you sure? Because
I'm sure, Marcos.
everybody benefits, especially you. You've chosen the great Phobos. He's never let me down.
Phobos.
To the extent that it is actually possible, they were as accurate as they could, be, trying to follow all the historical events surrounding it. And I think that they brought in a lot of people, a lot of specialists, archaeologists, historians that would actually, so they would cross-reference all the data that they had before they put it into the game and into the dialogue. But if there were minor tweaks made that would possibly support a different kind of plot, or that, I'm not really sure. There might have been elements and aspects of that. I think the majority of the characters, the philosophers of the time, the politicians of the time, the generals of the time were spot on. But then again, obviously, it's the lore. You add, I guess, some bits. I mean, our character is an addition.
They did a really good job of trying to fuse what we know as the true history into this, fake one, and it was very well done. That part I really liked. They had to take some liberties with some names, probably didn't exist in the time, and some of the locations they had to tweak a little differently. I think some of the colors they had to tweak a little different.
Down, I think.
Yeah,
with all the
pull
monuments,
back.
they had to tone things down a bit in terms of color, because they had found out that in ancient Greek everything was like borderline psychedelic colors. Very, very bright. So in the game they've kind of toned it down a little bit, which I thought was fascinating. I didn't know that. Sorry, your mic.
No, it's fine. They have lots. It was incredible just to see the colors that they put on all the architecture and the buildings, but then finding out that they actually had to bring it back because it was much brighter. Yeah, it was too much in real life. So that was a really neat thing to find out.
The developers, they told me about the sexuality in this game. You can even have a relationship with same sex. So was there any time that you had to record something that you would say to another woman, or you to another man, that brought you in a difficult position?
I wonder if this is the time.
What, Alexios?
The other one.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Sure, let's bring it up.
Who?
I'm doing this. Okay, fine.
I'm not saying this.
Fine. Okay. So when we recorded the demo for E3, we had to do the scene with Kira, where we have a makeout scene, and they had us acting together. We were. It was a tough day. This was the hardest day of probably our entire experience. They they had us do the scene of Kira and Alexios and Kira and Kassandra. Okay. So we had to do that scene together.
And when we found out basically that it was going to be, because we didn't really know that this is what was happening. We thought that there was going to be somebody else. And they're like, no, it's just you're going to do it. And we're like,
I have to kiss her.
What? No. What? No. I don't want to do that.
We're like family now. No.
This is like,
This is a year after working together, after becoming like really close friends. So
it was just the weirdest thing. And I remember just kind of going at the end. We're both looking down until somebody said action, and we're like, okay, let's do it. Do it. Come. It's just, that was it.
And then after
okay, get away from me.
Yeah, after work we both went and got a shot.
Yes, it was.
Okay, let's forget about that.
Horrible day.
That was a rough day.
That was a horrible day.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sorry, Yubi, if we got in trouble saying this.
No, you will not get in trouble. I am here, don't worry. So how did you decide that you want to start with voice acting, guys? Like, did you know since you were young, or did a friend tell you, or I don't know, what other reasons?
I guess the first experience that I ever had with it was at drama school. And we'd entered a few competitions in London for the BBC, and that was the first exposure that I had to that medium. When I was back in Greece, I didn't really have an opportunity to do it. I was more interested in trying to figure out what to do with theater, film. And then all of a sudden an audition came up for Origins, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. Oh yeah, actually, I remember really liking this. I really want to start doing this again. Let's see if, and it worked out. And then one thing led to the other, and then there was the audition for Odyssey.
I didn't know much about it when I started acting, and I moved to Vancouver when I was about 20 to get into film and television, and I just finished doing lots of theater and musicals, and I was singing a lot at the time as well. And someone told me about cartoons, and so my first audition I ever went into was for a cartoon called Trolls. And I had this like really fun character that was way up here and kind of really neat. And that was the first role I ever booked right away in the cartoon world. And then I started getting more into the video games and learning about that. And then I fell in love with it. It became this really, really neat profession that I just thought was so much fun. And so I continued to pursue it while doing film and television, and then it slowly took over, and I started doing it more and more, and then I got into commercials and advertising, and I last year got to do a wonderful campaign with Old Spice, and it is
seriously amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should really check it out. He's awesome.
If being this is your beginning, you're amazing. So, this girl's awesome. But yeah, and then so getting something like this was just a beautiful experience to be able to do such a unique voice for someone like Alexios. So it's a big blessing to create a voice for someone like him.
Do you have any tips or any exercise you do to warm up your voice?
You have to learn to relax a lot of your diaphragm and a lot of what goes on in your belly, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of relaxation to get there. So one example would be, it's very funny, but you have 4 areas you work on. So you have your double bass, we call it. Then you have your area here we call the viola, and it's viola, so you go double bass, viola. And then you bring it up into your nasal, and this is your nasal sound, and it comes right into your nasal right here. And you can do, and this is called your violin. So you go violin, and then you have one more sound way up here, and that's called your piccolo. So you have double bass, viola, violin, piccolo, and you do ups and downs, yeah.
Oh, that was great.
I don't think I can follow that. spike out. Boom.
So did you have any other roles in the game apart from the lead ones?
I didn't have any other roles vocally, but we did get to play some other characters physically. So we did the motion capture for a couple other characters, and it was really fun.
There were a couple of things that we did for mocap, actually 2 or 3, maybe 4. But that was it in terms of, so it's just basically just the body.
So are there any scenes in the game that you are talking in Greek, like fully in Greek, like in 1 or 2 sentences?
There were brief moments we had in Greek, and then they would continue in English. Though they did try to make the background world and the music and the singing and everything going on in the world in Greek. And we would fit in as much Greek as we could, and we kept the accents as well as the way words were pronounced to make sure they were Greek, and the way they're pronounced in Greek, not in English. And we had to fight for that a lot. And we also had to make a balance sometimes, like Hades or Adis.
I want to say Zeus. Zeus actually was probably one of those. So instead of saying Zeus, so they would opt for something that I think the majority of people will be able to recognize if it were a very well-known Greek name, for example. So they wouldn't go with the exact Greek pronunciation, so they would go for something that everybody could understand. So like, that's what they're talking about, okay.
Do your friends know who you are in the Assassin's Creed games?
They do now.
Yeah, they do now. They do now. I was going to say now they do, but you went for they do now. It was difficult not saying it for a year. It was hard.
1.5 years.
What? No, katse.
Well, okay, for me it was 1.5 years.
You were more, no. But afterwards, it was just like literally screaming everybody. Hey, did you know that I did this? Hey, did you know that I did this?
Someone must have known. Maybe your best friend, maybe your mother.
No. Nobody knew anything, I swear, I promise.
My wife knew. And maybe a best friend somewhere down the road, but I can't confirm that.
Like the neighborhood. A friend from the village. From the village. So have you played any other Assassin's Creed games apart from this one?
I haven't played any of them, but I've watched a lot of the gameplay online, and I always fell in love with the parkour elements of the game.
I haven't actually played. We did actually sample this at the beginning, like the very, very, very beginning, like May, not this May. Yeah, which was very nice. But I've watched a lot of them. Again, like Michael, I've watched a lot of videos. I'm just going to play the crap out of this one, basically.
I'm going to play you.
I'm going to play you as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Good decision, man.
My friends and I would like to, like, you know, shooter games and all those things. I also like the, you know, stealth style games. I can't remember Splinter Cell. I think that's the one.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I really like those games, and I'm excited that this game has a lot of stealth in it too, because that's something I really enjoy playing.
We go crazy for arcade games, but that's pretty much it. Like, I'm a newbie when it comes to these things. Yeah, this is a good opportunity actually for me to start.
There's no time to waste. We'll go to the hideout now.
What is your favorite role out of all the ones that you have played? What is your most favorite one?
When I was working here in Greece and then in London, I tend to go for jobs mainly because of the role or the character, not because of the job per se. So it is quite eclectic in terms of the character. I've really enjoyed doing this because it's been such a long time, and because you get to add so much to the character and explore. And there's after a year and a half, there's still bits that we're discovering now. So in a sense, it's a very, very rich character and a very interesting thing to kind of just keep on peeling away layers and discovering.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with this one. And the same sort of reasons. I've done many roles, many characters, and certain things in theater I've really loved to do. But as far as something that means the most to me in my life, and to be a you know, of Greek origin, and then to have moved to Canada, and to kind of always feel displaced between both countries, and then have the opportunity to play something of your own heritage, and even where I'm from Mani, like to have a character of Spartan, you know, of my own blood, and to get the opportunity to present that and sort of feel, you know, more part of Greece in my life. That's a really big honor and a blessing. So yeah, as of now, this is probably the most fulfilling role I've done. Yeah.
Please stop, I will cry. Please stop. Okay. end, so what are your future projects?
I produce my own films at the moment. Right when I get back to Canada, I'm shooting one of them. From there, I'm going to continue to be producing my own works as well.
What's your style? Horror, funny?
Social drama, maybe?
Yeah, they're different. I'm working on different elements for different genres, and I'm also doing ancient Greek historical pieces of action and adventure. If anyone out there wants to know about them, please give me a shout at Mike Antonakos Twitter.
Bouncing around everywhere, it's very difficult to have a very fixed base and kind of work on different projects because I don't know where I'm going to be in a month from now. So until the game officially wraps or we're getting close to that, then it's not going to be as easy for me to commit to something that is, especially if it's something long term.
Yeah, because I guess we can talk about it because they have announced all the DLC elements. Yeah, we're fixed to this for a while. So outside projects with other people, it's not a lot of time.
Everybody's been really lovely and very warm and very welcoming, and so we thank them for that.
These hashtags Kassandra and Alexios things are really funny.
Και θέλετε να πείτε τίποτα στα ελληνικά, έτσι, για να κλείσουμε στα παιδιά? Π.χ. μπορείς να μας πεις ποιο είναι το αγαπημένο σου site?
Το αγαπημένο μου site, κοιτάω εδώ προφανώς και δηλαδή, όχι τη λάθος κάμερα, είναι το GameWorld.gr. Σας ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ. Απλά ελπίζω να περάσετε τέλεια παίζοντας το παιχνίδι. Όποιον και να διαλέξετε, Alexios Kassandra, whatever, δεν έχει απολύτως καμία σημασία, με την έννοια ότι έχουμε γουστάρει τόσο πολύ κάνοντας και τους δύο ρόλους. Ελπίζω να περάσετε καλά. Have fun, kick ass. Αυτό.
Συγγνώμη, δεν μιλάω πολλά ελληνικά. Play Assassin's Creed Odyssey and have a wonderful time. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ.
Παιδιά, σας ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ. Πραγματικά οι δουλειές σας είναι καταπληκτικές. Ελπίζω να σας δούμε και σε άλλα projects, ελπίζω και σε μελλοντικά Assassin's Creed, αλλά δεν νομίζω να γίνουν άλλα σε σχέση με την Ελλάδα. Ήδη το Origins είχε πολύ ελληνικά στοιχεία, το Odyssey είναι full, αλλά ελπίζουμε να σας δούμε και σε άλλα games και γιατί όχι να πάρουμε και άλλη συνέντευξη από εσάς.
Τέλεια, ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Ευχαριστούμε και εσάς που μείνετε συντονισμένοι. Θα βάλουμε τα links των παιδιών για να τα ακολουθήσετε στα social media για να δείτε τις άλλες τους δουλειές. Μην ξεχάσετε να κάνετε like στο βίντεο αν σας άρεσε. Περιμένουμε τα σχόλιά σας από κάτω για την Κασάνδρα, για τον Αλέξιο, για τα ελληνικά τους, για το μαλάκα, για το ένα, για το άλλο. Μην ξεχάσετε να κάνετε subscribe στο κανάλι μας για περισσότερα βίντεο. Αυτά, μείνετε συντονισμένοι και εμείς τα λέμε μέσα από το GameWorld.gr.
Ωραία. Να ζήσεις Melissanthi και χρόνια πολλά, μεγάλη να γίνεις με άσπρα μαλλιά, παντού να σκορπίζεις στις νιώσεις το φως και όλοι να λένε να μία σοφός.
Χρόνια σου πολλά! Ψυχή μου, παιδιά, σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Τι ωραία!